Hello! Today, in 3 videos, I will be covering First Class Requirements 3A, 3B, 3C, and 3D. For this first video, we will be covering First Class Requirements 3A and 3B, which are as follows. 3A, discuss when you should and shouldn't use lashings, and 3B, demonstrating tying the timber and clove hitch. So with Requirement 3A, let's start with when you should use lashings. It's basically come down to safety and ethics. Like you use stuff for temporary builds, only approved materials, like don't cut down a big tree like this for just the tiny branches. Use stuff that you already have. And also stuff that would be less damaging to the environment. And another reason, or use for lashings, is for the Pioneering Merit Badge. Now, we're going to move on to when you shouldn't use lashings. So, when something's to be built permanent, you never want to use lashings because they could weather over time and the ropes could break and potentially harm someone, which is very bad. Another reason you should not use lashings is when the weight you're expected to be using exceeds the limit the lashings will be able to hold, because that could also damage others. And finally, you can't use lashings, or you shouldn't use lashings, when you do not have the proper equipment or materials for it. Now, we're going to move on to Requirement 3B, which is tying the timber hitch along with the clove hitch. First, we're going to start with the timber hitch. It's a pretty fairly easy knot to tie. It's primarily used for dragging logs or other wood across the ground, and for the lashing sense, tying or starting the diagonal lashing. This is how you tie the timber hitch. First, with whatever pole you're using, you wrap the rope around. Then, with the end of the rope, you're going to wrap it around the other side like this. Then, on the end side of the rope, this side, not this side that has the rest of the rope, you're going to start wrapping the rope back on itself around 2 to 3 times. Then, once that's done, you're going to pull it tightly, and then you got the timber hitch. Now, we're going to move on to the clove hitch. It's also a fairly simple knot, and it's a bit easier to tie than a timber hitch. And the clove hitch is used for starting and ending lashings. And the clove hitch is on page 368 in your scrapbook. So be sure to look through it if you get lost. So this is how you tie the clove hitch. First, you want to take your rope with enough rope at the end. You're going to wrap it around the pole like an X. So you have this X in the middle. Then, with the other end of the rope, you're practically going to stab the X through the middle. And then, once it's all tied, you're going to have something that looks like this. That's the clove hitch. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I helped you with your First Class Requirements 3A and 3B. Now, make sure to watch the other 2 videos on First Class Requirement 3C and 3D.